So, how does a simple idea, something that just pops in your head, turn into a multi-million-dollar asset? Well, that's exactly what we're breaking down today. We're going to demystify intellectual property and give you a real, actionable playbook to protect your innovations and, actually fuel your business's growth.
Let me ask you a question. What's your company's most valuable but totally unprotected asset right now? Seriously, think about it. It's probably not what you think. It's not the laptops or the desks. It's that intangible goldmine of your ideas, your brand, and all the unique stuff you're creating. Look, we've got to shift how we think about intellectual property. So many people see it as this legal headache, right? Something to put off. But it's not. A solid IP strategy is your secret weapon. It's the thing that gives you a massive competitive edge.
And a well-crafted IP strategy, it's basically a value creation machine. We're talking about building real business value that makes investors sit up and take notice. It's how you stop competitors from just ripping off your hard work, and it opens up whole new ways to make money, like licensing deals. It really is about turning your brain power into cold, hard cash.
Okay, let's get into it. Here's our game plan. First, we'll look at the different strategic playbooks you can run. Then we'll walk through the 4-stage cycle for actually developing your IP. After that, we'll talk about weaving this into your company culture, which is key, and finally, making it all pay off. So, first things first, you need to pick a playbook. There is no one-size-fits-all approach here. Are you going to play defense, or are you going to go on the offense? Your answer to that question is going to shape everything else you do. You can really think of this like a game of chess. Are you playing a defensive game, building a fortress of patents just so you have the freedom to do your thing? Or are you playing offense, actively using your IP to block your competitors and gain an edge? Or maybe it's purely financial. The strategy you pick is your opening move. All right, so once you've picked a general strategy, how do you actually put it into motion? Let's get into the how, the core process for building and managing your IP over time. And this is so important to understand. This isn't some static, one-and-done checklist. It's a living, breathing process. It's a cycle that's meant to evolve right along with your business, constantly feeding back into itself to make sure your IP strategy is always on point. Stage 1 is all about doing your homework. It's reconnaissance. You've got to take stock of what you actually have, figure out how it lines up with your big picture business goals, and crucially, get a really clear picture of what your competitors are up to. You wouldn't go into battle without scouting the terrain first, right? Same idea. Okay, now it's time to turn all that analysis into a real plan of action. This is where you build the actual roadmap with super specific goals, timelines, and of course, a budget. It's where the vision becomes a tangible plan that's going to guide every move you make. And this next point is absolutely critical. An IP strategy cannot just be some standalone document that only the lawyers or the R&D team look at. That just doesn't work. It has to be a company-wide commitment, woven into the very fabric of your organization from top to bottom. Think of your IP strategy like the rudder on a ship. The market is constantly changing. The seas get rough. You have to constantly make small adjustments to stay on course. This final stage is all about being agile, making sure your strategy is always pointing you exactly where you need to go. And that brings us right back to our map. See how it works? Analysis, operations, execution, and realignment. It's not a straight line. It's a powerful loop, a continuous cycle of protection, adaptation, and improvement for your business. But listen, a brilliant strategy on paper is pretty much worthless if it's just collecting dust in a folder somewhere. To really make it work, you have to bake it into the DNA of your company culture. It has to become a mindset that everyone in the organization shares. This pyramid visualizes that idea perfectly. Your specific IP policies can't just float around in a vacuum. They have to be built on the solid foundation of your main company policies and, of course, your overall business strategy. Everything has to connect and support everything else. And that means asking some tough questions across every single department. What's HR's process for invention disclosures? Does your R&D team know when to patent something versus when to keep it a trade secret? And does your marketing team understand the huge risks of talking about something too early? These are the little details that will make or break your entire strategy. All right, let's get to the fun part. This is where we talk about making your ideas actually pay off. How do we turn all this protected intellectual property into a real revenue-generating machine? Let's dive in. This chart does a great job of breaking down the two main pathways here. On one side, you've got commercialization. That's basically using your IP to build and sell your own products. And on the other side, you've got monetization, which is about making money directly from the IP itself through things like licensing or sales. And the outcomes here can be huge. We're talking about creating lucrative new licensing deals, maybe franchising your business model, or even spinning off whole new companies based on a piece of your technology. It's really about thinking creatively to unlock the hidden value in your ideas. Now, if you do go the licensing route, you've got to know your options. An exclusive license means you give one party total control. You can't even use it yourself. A non-exclusive license is the opposite. You can grant licenses to lots of different people. And then there's a sole license, which is kind of a hybrid. Only you and one other licensee can use the IP. Each one offers a totally different level of control and market access. So at the end of the day, an IP strategy is so much more than a legal document. It's your blueprint for turning ideas into real, tangible assets. It's how you build a protective moat around your business that keeps competitors at bay and gives you a real, sustainable advantage. So as you get back to building your business, ask yourself this. Is your IP strategy a rusty old padlock, or is it a state-of-the-art security system? Because your next great idea is just around the corner, and you've got to be ready for it.